Hey everyone, Corterri here, to talk about why you shouldn't let low views and that sort of thing get you down when it comes to the art that you make. I'm not a professional, I'm just a hobbyist, so I might just be rambling about nonsense. A lot of us can say that we like getting likes and views, especially as an artist. If we get likes and views and all these comments, we feel good. It lets you know that real people out there saw your art and liked it. And it feels good being able to sort of measure the appeal of your art. Much of your favorite content probably has a whole lot of likes and views. Why? Sorting algorithms aside, it's probably because it's good content. It has widespread appeal, and the metrics reflect that. And so we might begin to associate good metrics with good content. But the problem is that we can take this association to healthy extremes, even in small ways. Getting good metrics can become addicting. It becomes like a high where we need it to feel good. However, with the association of good feelings from high engagement, low engagement is in turn associated with bad feelings. Even if we've never had high engagement and have always had 1 to 5 views on our art, I'm sure a lot of us still naturally associate this low view count with bad feelings. When our views and likes are low, we might feel bad. We start questioning if our art is good enough to even be noticed. It hurts our feelings to see something we put so much of our time and effort get buried under everyone else's art, without so much as one view. I know it's obvious, but it's not healthy to tie our skill or the value of our art solely off of these numbers. They certainly are helpful statistics to have, but when you start worrying about these numbers, that's when you start feeling inadequate. This quest for more attention or better engagement might be fueling this hesitance to make more art. Because if it's not going to be your next big piece, then what's the point, right? Or if you feel, well, this idea isn't good enough to post anywhere, it's not going to get likes or views, it's a waste of time to even start it. And I mean, if you don't have likes or views or followers, you start to question what the point of doing any of this shit is. It can really slow your artistic output down if you tie your art's worth to the number of views or likes it has. It's bad because you might suddenly become averse to making mistakes or taking risks with your art, which sort of hampers improvement since a fair part of the learning process, at least from what I've heard, involves failing. Your art output nosedives because you feel that you have to make great pieces each and every time, or else your time and effort is wasted. You no longer find value or pleasure in things like sketching or doodling, because that's not making you famous, and it's just not healthy to think that way. A lot of us who have fallen into this metrics trap forget why it is we started getting into art in the first place. I know it's natural to want notoriety for your art and to be renowned for it. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But most of us, I don't want to say all artists, I don't know everyone's story, but most of us, as artists, didn't begin our art journey because we wanted good metrics. We didn't start making art with the sole purpose of getting high engagement. We did it for things like expressing ourselves, to let creative steam out, the satisfaction of creating art for the sake of creating, some possibly even as an escape from the real world, or something, I don't know. There's a lot of reasons why people do things. I drew a lot as a kid and as a teenager on paper and in notebooks, pretty much any chance I had. This was back before I had internet access of any kind, so I wasn't making art to post anywhere. I was making it for myself, possibly show friends and family, if that. After I got internet and started posting my art online, I noticed that's when my pace slowed down a lot. I began to get self-conscious about my art, comparing it to professional art, even though I was only 14. I was jealous that I had no views, despite everyone telling me throughout my life that I'm great at art. Started feeling this go big or go home mentality with my art that I never felt before, but I couldn't really understand this concept at the time because of how young I was. Tying into this slowed pace, I drew less and less of what I wanted and more of what I thought would bring in the views and likes. I'd try a few fads here and there, sometimes even just outright copy shit, in order to generate any traffic. Not only was I not getting the expected results, my art was also stagnating. I was ignoring the fundamentals that make good art look good. I was too caught up in finding out the secret formula. Was it anime girls? Was it fan art? I mean, seriously, what the hell do these people want? It's bad for improvement to think, why study basic shapes, color theory, and lighting when you can just draw Sonic and get twice the views in half the time? Nothing against Sonic, but you have to ask yourself, did I start drawing Sonic fan art because I like Sonic, or because I think other people like Sonic? Even now I have a bad habit of glossing over fundamentals and thinking I've nailed what I've skimmed over without putting it into practice. Don't ever assume you've mastered drawing things and shading things like balls and cylinders. Keep going back to it every now and then. At its core, art is sort of a way to express ourselves and communicate our thoughts, how we feel and how we see the world through our eyes. Focusing on metrics too much ruins this. Like I said, you start making art for others rather than yourself. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to make good art that others find enjoyable. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get better at making art. There's nothing wrong with hoping that our art will explode in popularity. But when your whole entire purpose for putting your pen on paper or tablet is to get people's likes and views, I feel like you're very likely to lose a lot of enjoyment for making art. Even if no one sees it, making art should be a reward on its own. We shouldn't need external validation to make making art satisfying for us. As corny as that sounds, making art isn't everyone's cup of tea, so part of the satisfaction should come from knowing we're even willing to put our time and effort into making art in the first place. I know it's hard not to feel disappointed or discouraged by low engagement. You probably spent a lot of time and effort on this piece of art before you posted it, but you shouldn't let it be a reflection of your worth or skill as an artist. You're not a shitty artist just because you have 3 views on your artwork. And if you really think your art is crappy or not good, there's probably nothing stopping you from improving. In fact, if you can get this sort of controlled frustration from having low metrics, that could honestly be a catalyst for improving. I know this might all sound like feel-good nonsense because I myself don't have many views or subscribers right now. But I don't know, maybe it makes what I'm saying more legit. I mean, would you rather hear someone with 500,000 subscribers tell you, "You don't need subscribers, just be happy with your art"? Even if I sat at 9 subscribers forever, it wouldn't discourage me from making art. If I post something and it gets no views, that doesn't need to be the end of the world. I guess my point is you should stop focusing on these short-term metrics that only give you a small slice of insight on your overall trajectory as an artist. Focus on your artistic goals in the long term. What are you personally interested in improving? Do you suck at hands? Maybe you need to fix the way you draw hair or feet. Or maybe you just want to get better at landscapes or scenery. Maybe animals are your thing. Whatever it is, keep it in focus, and don't get distracted by these stupid f***ing numbers.